of this as, you know, the cat is on all fours, that half the body is going to be held by the upper and half the body be held by the lower. And that also is different than what human is, right? We have 100% of our weight is on our legs, but it's 50%, 50%. And when I talk about this is the cat's arms, these are the cat's legs, even though there's 4 legs to a cat, it's just easier when we relate it to a human. Okay, so let's talk about the muscles of the neck and up, all right? At least the ones I want you guys to know. So what we got here is this white area is the hyoid, okay? There's a muscle that connects the hyoid down to the sternum. There's one on one side and there's one on the other side, okay? What is that? That connects the sternum to the hyoid. Sternohyoid, right? Makes sense, okay? Then we have another one that goes from the hyoid, but it goes up, and it's this area up here. What is that? Mylohyoid. Good, all right? So there's your 2 muscles that you need to know, at least for my class, okay? Then we have to venture off into the skull area. So we have one muscle that's going to be found on top of the temporal bone, called the what? Temporalis, right? Makes sense, okay? Then you have another one that's on the cheek. It's not the buccinator, because this is much thicker over here and has a different action. What is this here? No. Masseter, all right? For mastication, kind of makes sense. Both of these muscles, the temporalis and the masseter, are going to insert into the jaw, right? The mandible. What is their action? Be specific.
Elevate?
It is going to close or elevate the mandible, okay? If you put down chewing, that's too vague. Are you talking about opening or closing the jaw, right? You gotta be precise, okay? So that goes on over here. And then we have another one over here, back to the lower portion. We have one muscle up here and one on this side too. Looks like an upside down V. It attaches to the mandible also. What is that? That's your digastrix, okay? And keep in mind, muscles pull, so if they're going to pull the jaw, it's this action of the digastrix is what, specifically? Depression or opening the mouth, right? The jaw, the mandible. Okay, does that make sense? So go through it again. What is this muscle that goes from the sternum to the hyoid? Sternohyoid. The one that goes from the hyoid going up? Mylohyoid. The one that's like the upside down V? Digastrix. Good. The one that is up here on top of the head? Temporalis. And the one that's on the cheek that's really thick? Masseter. Okay? In fact, if you have a cat at home or a dog, you could actually feel the masseter. Right? You could go, the dog will be fine. The cat will be fine. I think he's getting a massage. But you could actually feel that. And if he's, he's chewing on something like a toy or your finger or whichever, you could actually feel the masseter get harder and harder. It's contracting. That's what's going on there. Okay? So those are the muscles, at least in the neck and head, that I want you guys to know about. Okay? So let's talk about the chest. And the chest isn't so bad too. There's 4 muscles of the chest, 2 of which are unique to the cat. And I picked that on there for a couple reasons. One, because they're so obvious to see. And also, you've got to move them out of the way to see the human muscles. So I might as well just give it a name, okay? So we have, if you look at the picture here, there's one over here that is making a bar. Can you see it? All right, there's one on that side too. It's number, my eyes are going, is it? 13. Is that 13? Yeah, 13.
My eyes are bad too.
11. Oh, it's 11. Okay. So the 11 over here, that's called the pectoantebrachialis. Again, that's a muscle that's unique to the cat. Okay? So that's over here. But underneath that is going to be the pectoralis major muscle. Below that, a larger one, weird, but the larger one is called the pectoralis minor. And the minor is larger than the major because the cat is lifting up more, it's holding more of its weight on its arms, right? So things have been adjusted to because of that, or adapted. And then we have another one over here and that's also unique to the cat. That connects the xiphoid process to the humors. What do you think that muscle's called? Xiphohumerales, right? It makes sense. So again, pectoantebrachialis, pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, xiphohumeralis. Let's see what it looks like on the cat. Okay. So it's not dissected on the other side, but you have over here, this muscle here looks like a bar. That's the pectoantebrachialis. Then you have the smaller one over here. That's the pectoralis major muscle. Then you have this large thing over here that kind of has this shape. And this is the pectoralis minor muscle, bigger than the major. And then you have this that goes from the xiphoid process to the humerus. There's one here, and on this side it's over here. And that's the xiphohumeralis. So again, pectoantebrachialis, pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, xiphohumeralis is this. Okay? Not too bad? Okay. Now, there's also a couple other ones I want you to know in here. There's one muscle here that's in deep, and it looks like a shell. I don't know if you could see this. See, it looks like a shell there, right? You see it? That's the anterior, serratus anterior. Okay. On the human, let me. Can you hand me that model behind you? I could do it on here, but I think yeah, I think it's a little bit better on that one. So you can see. I mean, you can see it on that too. But if you look over here, see, it looks like there's a fan there, right? That's the serratus anterior. You see it nice. A lot of bodybuilders want to make sure that it looks defined. You can see it on Superman and Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. They kind of put that, they kind of exaggerate it on their costumes, those areas over there. So that's a serratus anterior. This big muscle over here, this is called the latimus dorsi. It's on the lateral and dorsal aspect, thus the name, latimus dorsi. When people say, I'm working on my lats, that's what they're talking about. On a human, it's this one right here. That's the latimus dorsi. See it? And one on that side. Okay? There is a trapezius on here. There is a deltoid. The problem is on a cat, they have different parts of it. Acrodeltoid, a clavodeltoid. They have all these different parts because it's so huge. That to me gets a little bit confusing for students, so I'm not going to hold you to be responsible for calling the deltoid and trapezoid on a cat. On a human, it's different. Here's the trapezius. It looks like a big diamond or a kite. And a deltoid is a shoulder pad over here. Okay? So that's what's going on there. So let's talk about, and there's a few other ones, just do on your own, in the arm, the biceps, triceps, and then the brachialis, brachioradialis, and then the rotator cuff muscles, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and at least the subscapularis. They're pretty easy to find, but it's not dissected on here. All right, so let's talk about the abdomen. All right, so we have in the abdomen, and again, keep in mind, the xiphohumeralis goes all the way down here. The xiphoid process is way down here. Because the cat is so long, there's a xiphohumeralis. You can feel it there. So this is the thorax of the cat. This is the abdomen of the cat. Okay? So this is going to be your abdominal muscles over here. We have over here muscle fibers that kind of go this way. If you look at it, you'll see the fibers going this way, like you're putting your hands in your pockets. Right? They're on an angle, thus the name oblique, and they're on the external area. So what is this called? External obliques. There's reasons why they're being called that, right? The internal obliques, you don't have to worry about the cat, but it is, I dissect this one out, it's over here, and if you see it closely, you could actually see the fibers going that way, not this way. So that's where that is. And the transverse abdominis is too deep, you can't see it on here. You also see on the cat, there's a muscle that's going to be over here and another one on that side. Okay? These would have sections in here, making it look like a six-pack, so to say. This is your rectus abdominis muscle. Okay? And I would show you my six-pack, but it looks like a keg, but you guys don't know what a keg is. I don't want to get into it. Okay? So that's pretty much the muscles of the abdomen. Okay? So let's go into the legs. Am I going too fast? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, so let's talk about the legs. But in order to do that, there's a bunch of muscles here, and I think you guys can do this. You saw it with the other group. They kind of picked up pretty rapidly with it. It's easier if I kind of show you what's going on this. Okay? So I'm going to refer back and forth to this. The only thing bad about this, like I said, it doesn't... You know what? Make my life easier. Can someone get me that other model there? I think this one's nice to see and work with, but if I'm going to show it here, if you're taping, recording and stuff, I don't want to look like I'm getting frustrated by not turning it around. So thanks, Rach. Okay. All right. So first off, you got to pick the landmarks, and there's two good muscles in the thigh that are good landmarks. There's one over here, very long. It's the longest muscle in a human's body. What is this called? Sartorius is this one here, okay? You also have another one, a good landmark, is this one here in the middle of the inner thigh. And think of a ballerina dancing gracefully with her legs. This is the gracilis, okay? Those two are great muscles to identify, good landmarks. So let's see what it looks like on the cat. And like I said, on the cat, because of its way it's on all fours, they're in the rightful place, but the shape is a little bit different, okay? So we have the sartorius, which is this one, believe it or not. This whole thing is the sartorius, okay? The gracilis is going to be this one over here, okay? So the gracilis is this, and the sartorius is going to be over here, okay? Very wide and covering most of the muscles, but if we cut over here and reflect it back, oh, look at all those goodies we got in there, okay? So we're going to go into there and see what's going on, all right? But let's start off by things you already know. I would imagine you know the hamstrings and the quads pretty well, so let's start off with that, okay? So here we got, and I'm sorry about the squeaking. So here we got our quads. And keep in mind, this is the left leg, so this is lateral, and this is medial. So we have a muscle here in the quads. What is this middle one called?
Rectus femoris.
Rectus femoris. Then we got teardrop ones. Again, in Latin, we say the word vastus, meaning teardrops. So we got one teardrop here, and one teardrop here, right? So what is this one called? Vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and where's the third one? What's the third one called? Vastus intermedius. Where would that be? Right, it would be in between the two vasti over here, but it'll be deep to the rectus femoris. Okay, so let's look where these are. Okay. Now, you got to visualize this too with a cat. Let me just get you oriented. This is the thigh of the cat. This is the lower leg of the cat. So that means this is the foot of the cat. It's got a long foot, but cats only walk on their paws, which means they're only walking on the tips of their toes. So the calcaneus is located here. Okay? This is the gastrocnemius, right? You learned about that from before. The calf muscle connects right over here. The calf muscle wouldn't be here, it's over here, because you got to understand the anatomy. Okay? All right, so let's look at the quadriceps of the cat. And it's pretty easy. Okay, so we have three muscles. 1, 2, 3. 3 muscles here. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of chewed up here a little bit. 1, 2, 3. See them? What is this middle one?
Rectus femoris.
Rectus femoris. What is this one?
Vastus medialis.
Vastus medialis. And what's this one over here? Vastus lateralis. And then what's going to be found underneath the probe? Vastus intermedius. Not bad. Okay? It's right where they're supposed to be. Now let's talk about the hamstrings. Okay? So we have two areas here that make up the hamstrings. One here and one here. Again, this is the left leg, this is lateral, this is medial. What's this one here on the lateral side? Say it again?
Biceps.
Correct. Biceps femoris, right? Femoris, femur, right? And then you have, what's this one that's going to be most superficial? Semitendinosus. And the one that's found deep to that one? Semimembranosus. Think of a membrane underneath something. Okay? So there's your three hamstrings. Biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus. Okay? So let's look at what it looks like on the cat. Now, you have to visualize this he's standing like this. I'm going to make it so it's kind of like upside down. You just get yourself oriented. So that's going to be lateral, of course, and this is medial. Okay? So when you look at this, from this view, it's going to look like this. What is this muscle here on the lateral side? Biceps femoris. Now look at this. When you look at it this view, it looks like this. But what happens here, when you look at this lateral view, this is the biceps femoris. It's huge on a cat. That's why cats have adapted to run faster than humans, because of a muscle like this. Okay? So if I point to this, you guys say biceps femoris. So you got to look at it. That's why pictures are okay, but when you have a video or you have the actual cat in front of you, it becomes three-dimensional. And that makes it a little bit more conducive for you. I'm getting soaked from this cat. Okay. My wife's not going to be happy. All right. So that's the biceps femoris over here. What's the one on the medial side that's superficial? Semitendinosus. And then the one that's deep to it? Semimembranosus. Now that's, if you look at this angle, that's what it should look like on a human. But look what's happening. Here's the semitendinosus, and here's the membranosus. You're looking at it at a different angle.
That's thick.
Okay? So you could actually see it really nicely on the medial aspect of the thigh. All right? But it's all where they're supposed to be. They're just different shapes. Okay? Now, this is the one I always get mixed up with. These two muscles over here. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. Here's the gracilis. If I put this over here, what is the action of the gracilis? Remember, muscles pull. So when this shortens and pulls, what is it going to do to the upper thigh, or the thigh? Go ahead.
Adduction.
Adduction, right? When this shortens, it's going to bring it this way. Okay? So it's going to, do this kind of thing, right? It's going to bring it that way. Okay? All right. Yeah, don't put me on YouTube or anything. This is my good side, though. Make sure you take it this way. All right. All right. So that's the gracilis over here. Now, again, here's a semitendinosus. Here's a semimembranosus. And then you got two adductors. There's one here and there's one here. I'll show you a little mnemonic to help you memorize this. I just came up with it the other class. This is the adductor magnus, also referred to as the adductor femoris. Either one is fine. The one above that, or superior to it, is going to be the adductor longus. So I always get these two mixed up. But if you know that this is the semimembranosus, this is the adductor magnus, MM. So that helps you a little bit. They're next to each other, okay? All right, so if these are your adductors, let's talk about the abductors. They would be located where on my thigh? The lateral aspect, right? If I'm going to move my leg that way, these muscles here gotta pull it that way. Abduct. So jumping jacks, abduct, adduct, right? Okay, so let's talk about those. This muscle over here, 3 words. What is that called? Tensor fascia lata. Good. Then you got this wonderful band of a tendon. What's that called? Iliotibial tract. Laymen call it the IT band, right? Then you have this muscle up here. What's that called? Gluteus medius. And then this big one? Gluteus maximus. There is a gluteus minimus, but it's in deep, very difficult to see. So you have 4 things, right, going on over here. So let's find them on here. Same place. What you have over here is this muscle here. See it? What's that muscle there? 3 words. Tensor fascia lata. Okay? Then you have this wonderful band here that my finger's behind. What is that? Iliotibial tract. Then you have a muscle over here.
Just bigger, which is the gluteus medius.
Gluteus medius. And then this, little one over here.
It's the gluteus maximus.
Gluteus maximus. So yes, in a cat doesn't have a big bum bum. Okay? So its gluteus maximus is smaller than its gluteus medius. Kind of similar to what we saw with the pectoralis major minor. Major being smaller than the minor. Okay? That's it. Now, just as a summary, that I did with the other group, let's just go through the leg muscles, go right around like you're, circling the earth. Let's just do the same thing with the human, and then we'll do it on the cat, and then we're done. Okay? All right. So, let's start off with what you already know, the sartorius. Okay? There's your sartorius. We'll go right around. What is this muscle?
Vastus medialis.
Vastus medialis. What's this muscle? What's underneath the rectus femoris?
Vastus intermedius.
Vastus intermedius. What's the muscle here?
Vastus lateralis.
Vastus lateralis. Good. What is this muscle up here? Tensor fascia lata. What is this white thing here? What is this? Iliotibial tract. What's this muscle up here? Gluteus medius. What's this muscle over here? Gluteus maximus. What's this muscle over here? Biceps femoris. What's this muscle over here? Semitendinosus. What's this muscle here underneath that? Semimembranosus. Now, I didn't do it on the human. Let's see how well you do my mnemonic. That's a semimembranosus. What's this muscle here? Yes, that's the adductor magnus or femoris, right next to it. Okay? What's this muscle here? Be careful. No.
Wait, where'd you point it?
This one here.
It's not the gracilis.
Yes, that's the gracilis. And then this muscle over here,
Would be the
adductor longus.
Oh.
Okay? Well, and then we're back to the sartorius. Okay? What we did over here is that the gracilis is covering these two over here. And it's not as, our gracilis is much thinner than the cat's. That's what's throwing you off a little bit. But they're in the same place. Okay? Now, let's do it on the cat. Do the same thing. Okay? So, let's just do it this way. Okay? So we have, what is this one here? Sartorius, and this one? Gracilis. We're going to reflect them back and enjoy our goodies here, right? So, let's do it. Let's do it this way. All right. So again, gracilis. I'm sorry. Sartorius, gracilis. What's this muscle here?
Is that one of the vastus?
Yep. Look, 1, 2, 3. What is this?
Vastus medialis.
Vastus medialis. What is this? Rectus femoris. What is this?
Vastus lateralis.
Good. What's this muscle over here? 3 words. Tensor fascia lata. What is iliotibial tract? What's this muscle over here? Gluteus medius. What's this muscle over here? Gluteus maximus. What's this muscle here? Ah, see, you didn't see it from the same angle. If I do it this way,
God, that was so aggressive.
what is this muscle over here? If you see it from this angle, you can see it. No, think of hamstring. Lateral side.
Semitendinosus.
Oh, lateral side. We're doing so good.
Biceps.
Biceps femoris, right. So here's the biceps. This is the biceps femoris.
Oh, the whole thing.
Right,
That's really big.
right, it's big. So again, tensor fasciae latae. Here's your gluteus medius, gluteus
Oh, it's easier to see
maximus.
like that.
Right, gluteus maximus. Here's the biceps femoris. You can see it here. What is this one here then? What is this here? Semitendinosus. What's this muscle here?
Semimembranosus.
Semimembranosus is this big one over here, like that. What is this one?
Adductor magnus.
Adductor magnus. This one over here. Adductor longus.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. And I know you guys